All right, just a quick little story. Today is November 6th, 2019. And the reason that's an important date for me is that it was 40 years ago today that I left the Missionary Training Center in Salt Lake City, or I guess it was in Provo, and headed to Hong Kong and start my adventure over there. Long time ago. There's a lot more. I didn't have a beard, but there's a lot more gray here where I would have had a beard. And probably a little less stuff going on up here too. But anyhow, long story short, I was going to tell you. So I was an eager young missionary. I was trying to figure out, okay, you know, I wanted to have at least 1 or 2 conversions before I landed in Hong Kong. And so we were flying from Salt Lake to San Francisco, quick little layover there, to test out our Chinese that we'd been working on so hard for 8 weeks, and we were pretty sure we had it down to a science. So anyhow, we're running around over there in the airport speaking to anybody that looks like they're Chinese, and there's quite a few Chinese people in San Francisco, obviously. But I'd made a genius idea. I was a lot smarter than most of the other missionaries in my group. At least I thought it was, because I said back in the day, when you flew on flights, they had, just like in the restaurants, they had smoking and non-smoking sections. But this guy right here, he thinks. So I said to myself, Dave, you want to be where the non-members, people that are not members of the Mormon faith are. And if you want to be able to baptize somebody and convert somebody. So I said to myself, I ought to go sit in the smoking section. So I chose smoking section when I was trying to get my boarding pass. But see, now that's where a so missionary would have made their critical error, because I was smarter than those guys, because I wasn't not only going to get in the smoking section, I was going to go for a middle seat in the smoking section. That way I've got a potential baptism on one hand, and I've also got one on the right hand and one on the left hand. I am right in the heart of it. I will have people just eating from my hands, literally. So, needless to say, I was able to procure a seat in the middle. Not a lot of those get sucked up very quickly. Right in between 2 Chinese businessmen. Now, what an opportunity. And the beauty is they smoked. So I knew they probably weren't members of the church. And so I was in fertile ground right there. So what I did was I plopped myself right down in there, and I used my 8 weeks worth of Chinese on them. And I started talking to them in Chinese. Now, I don't know if it was me, if I might have been a little bit annoying, if they didn't understand a single word I was saying to them. It could have been a bunch of different reasons. But those gentlemen, rather than talking to me in Chinese, they proceeded to light their cigarettes. And I don't think they ever put them out from the time we left San Francisco until the time, 14 hours later or whatever it was when we landed in Hong Kong. Actually, I think the thing was instead of having to pull their lighter back out, they would finish that last drag and start up another one just to get going there. I don't think it stopped. Well, needless to say, I was immersed in smoke. There was no immersion of water, but immersion of smoke was for sure. And if there was anybody baptized, I was baptized in the tobacco and nicotine of all those cigarettes there. I probably shortened my life, I would guess, by at least 5 years just on that one flight alone. I've never asked for the smoking section again. So I don't know whether I've just lost my missionary fervor or I've learned something. I came to find out that, you know what, even though it's a non-smoking section, some of those people haven't joined the church either. And so some of those people might actually be willing to talk, even in English. Oh my gosh. Anyhow, quick little story. I'm sure my mission president, when I got off that plane, said, what the heck have we got here? Actually, I think he did, because he kept all the missionaries there in Hong Kong. There was only one that he sent out to the casino area in the mission in Macau. I don't know if that smoke thing, he might have just felt like I had a bad nicotine habit and that maybe they could wean me off it over in Macau. Or that maybe I'd be able to contact people in the casinos. I'm sure there was some sort of, things going on in his head. And he said, this guy feels like Macau. He feels like a casino boy. Anyhow, that's my story from 40 years ago today. Thanks, and we'll talk to you later.